Welcome to Beers with Rich. I'm Rich, editor Under the Radar Report. What a week! What a week! Look, I'll get back to the beer in a second. But once again, the star of the show, or the stars, they're up there, are the stocks. Here's the PTB. Let's crack it! PTB Group. Ooh, it's a big one. Specialist airline engine manufacturer. You know, great niche, what we love, great niche, positive cash flow, expanding into markets, ticked all the boxes, now it's gone. It's gone, but having more than doubled since we picked it sometime last year. Spiked 30% on the news, or 35% actually on the news of a industry player taking it over. Well, it's not a done deal yet, but bloody hell, it's takeover boulevard out there in small cap land. Let's toast to that. That's what we like here at Under the Radar. Big returns from little companies. It's what we get paid for. We're delivering. Look, humility aside, this week I want to keep it short because we're in the middle of reporting season. The market's in a very interesting position. You know, it's rebounded something like 10% in the past few months, but it remains 7% shy of its record level in April. So playing the index game, I think we all agree, is not where it's at. It's about stock picking. And I want to give you 3 takeouts from the reporting season because me and my analysts, we've been pouring our little heads over so many companies. We're spinning, but we've managed to come out with a few key points out of all this. The first is that fundamentals are really coming to the forefront. I mean, basically what we're talking about are investors of all persuasions, big and small, are looking for companies with strong earnings, positive cash flow, and balance sheets. If this is borne out anywhere, it's borne out in our portfolios. Our small cap portfolios, both our dividend and our flagship portfolio, outperforming, and our blue chip portfolios outperforming. They might not have reached the stellar heights of some other portfolios during the boom times, during the go for growth phase, but they didn't drop as much and they're rebounding faster. So it's really worth checking out our portfolios because they are pretty much getting the risk return right, equation right for people who have a long-term focus. So the second takeout, well, it's a big Krakatoa. Look, we all know it. When interest rates are rising, stock picking is paramount. Basically, the cost of capital is going up. So that's going to put pressure on valuations. So you need to pick stocks that can weather the inflation storm. What does that mean? Well, they've got to be able to institute price rises. They've got to be price makers, not price takers. But, you know, there's a limit to all this, which is why owning companies with solid dividends pays off. And I want to get to one of those in a second. But the third takeout is takeover activity. Did I mention takeover activity? Around 10 of our companies have been taken out in 2022. That's like 10% of our stocks that we cover, you know, the 100 plus stocks. Over the years, it's 1 in 5. And this activity is only going to increase. Why? Because small caps have what the market wants, what private equity people want, what the big caps of this world want. They have growth. And what do they have? You know, also strong balance sheets because they're survivors. So like I've mentioned, PTB, there's Genex, Nearmap, Main Pharma, the list goes on. But look, I mean, basically in this week's issue, there are stocks that aren't the best stocks I've ever covered or we've ever covered. They're not the best companies, but I reckon at least a few of these will get taken out for sure. Like basically, you know, you can see it happening when they're building up cash reserves. When you accumulate cash in your small, that's like a red rag to a private equity bull. What a lot of these stocks are doing, they're doing buybacks, they're doing acquisitions because they're all trying to avoid being taken over. So this is what we're seeing in the small cap land. Another company that stands out on the other side of the equation is none other than Telstra. I mean, In this week's blue chip report, our analysts looked closely at the Telstra result, and I mean it got sold off on on disappointing on the dividend side of things, but really, like this, even though it underperformed in the dividend, it marked a big turnaround for this company. For years, it's been paying dividends out of not enough earnings, so its dividends per share were in excess of its earnings per share. This time, it increased its dividend, not by much, 0.5%, but it was well covered by earnings. So once you extrapolate this forward, you can see big growth for the telco. So maybe Andy Penn's left a legacy, that we weren't aware of until now. Certainly not me, but it's something worth reading our report this week in Blue Chip. Another highlight has been the contrast between these huge moves we've seen in commodity prices. I mean, they've been wild. Look at coal. Coal's like threefolded in a year, both coking coal and thermal coal. Read our report on South 32. Contrast that with the contractors. Contractors who are making money from the commodities boom have much more consistent earnings, and we've really profited from that. Whether it's Maca, GR Engineering, SRG, and also at the big end, Worley. At the small end, you're talking big returns of 30%, 40% plus, annual returns, and that's before you take into account the takeover activity. So I forgot to mention the beer. Cream on chrome. Well, I obviously saw it. Cream on chrome. Mountain culture. Well, being a skier, a climber, a beer drinker, this one hit the spot. It's from the Blue Mountains, where they've been throwing snowballs this week. Here's to that. What's up for next week? More stocks that can be taken over. More. That's what? More. Plus, we're going to go radioactive. Like, basically the nuclear stocks, or the uranium stocks, are going up like big time. Paladin, Boss Energy, Bannerman Resources, they're going up, and we're going to talk about which ones to buy, hold, and sell. You know the drill. Here's to be with Rich.